What do you do when Google completely changes the rules? When AI starts answering questions before people even click on your website? Most businesses pay. My guest today actually saw it as an opportunity. Adrian Newman just adopt Google's AI revenue. He mastered, achieving over 410 brand AI results from one client in just 4 months. But here's something that makes Adrian's story really interesting. He's not some Silicon Valley tech worker. He's actually Canadian. He's a Toronto-based entrepreneur who's been grinding world for over 25 years, building his company Numero Web Solutions, one client at a time. He's the kind of leader who believes learning every job in his company, who thinks the best marketing strategy is simply helping people solve their problems, who's built their $1 million business by consistently going the extra. Adrian's approach to business is refreshingly straightforward. Its world of marketing hype, get rich. He believes in long-term thinking, authentic relationships, and the power of content actually help. Today, we're talking about how to future-proof your business in the age of AI, why consistency beats perfection, and what it really takes to build something. Adrian Newman, thank you for joining us. I invited a Canadian-based entrepreneur who believes going the extra mile and helping somebody is a better business strategy. Go figure. Could you pick great audience? So yeah, like in terms of my business, it's just sales that I have an issue with. I've been in corporate. So I started my career as software developer for 8 years, and then so I find it's global as fintech sector. But I've never ran my own business. I've never had to promote my own content. So even all of my current development that I have is all behind government and walls, essentially, that I can't even show people what I've done. So the small you on the side projects for no reason.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, it's just that's kind of my issue.
Mhm.
But I know around in small towns, there's no town. It's interesting to see. From my perspective, I came from, and then to move out to rural areas, it has a website. People are primarily using Facebook, and still connecting in the old manner of things. And it's great for their local community. They don't grow it. There's no ability to scale. We only have this word of mouth. But what would you say to people in those environments? How do you propose changes that are needed?
Well, I guess first of all is like how is first of all is the desire to change there, right? That's the first thing. Because sometimes you get in touch with a client or somebody who's starting a small business or running a small business, and they don't want to grow globally. Maybe they think they do, but they actually really don't. Like I've chatted with people before, and they've said, if I could just get 2 new clients a month, I'd be happy. And then I'm honest with them because I said, you know what, we chat. I always talk about the lifetime value of a client too. How much is a client worth to you? And they can tell me, a client may be worth total over the course of their lifetime $1,000. So there's $2,000, in lifetime value. So this is not just revenue, average order value coming through. So then I just gotta say I'm not for this, not the right agency for you because we're looking for ones that are growing faster. So you mentioned that Facebook, a lot of companies that they don't have a website, they're just using Facebook, which like I would never I would never recommend just a social media channel. But sometimes if they're just like, I don't know, like for example, a friend of mine, his son and his son is like 13 years old. They were cleaning garbage cans over the summer. That was their business model. They would go over with all their equipment. All you would need to have is a hose, but they had like brushes and detergent, and they would clean, and they would just do it on Facebook. It's fine. Do the website. Right?
It's
But if
funny
you do,
because
yeah.
yeah, it's because like it's auto shops and it's like what other stores we have here? Pet grooming stores
Yeah.
and places that um don't even have basic websites, let alone intake forms or things that just anybody who doesn't know the service. Like I came to Thai and also what was good, what was out there, and just trying to find it. I actually had to go back roots. Hey, like in the grocery store. Hey, how are you? I'm new here. Can you tell me what's good here? Um, and for somebody in tech, I'm like, this is
Yeah. So, and it's funny because that's what you did. So what you did, if you think about it, is just like a little bit of a microcosm about what other people do on Google, right? So you ask somebody, let's just say there's somebody you've met a couple times. Say you go to a coffee shop, you move into town, new to town, you go to a coffee shop for a week. The next week you go to the person who's pouring you a coffee or just say, I got a question. I need, a pet groomer. Where do you recommend I get a pet groomer? And that person is going to give you the place that they know is the best, right? They're going to say, this person I know is good because I either go there or I know people have gone there. I've met the person, I know how great they are. And that's essentially, they're acting like Google. So if you don't have a website, if you don't have a Google business profile, if you don't have active social media, like then Google's got nothing to go on. So that's really why you have to have pretty much all the channels built up, right? You need a website. You need a Google business profile, especially if you're a small business, depending on local traffic, like auto mechanic, pet groomer, stuff like that. You need, like, that's the most important thing. Do that first before anything else. And then you have to have social basically to show that to Google, who are basically that person in the coffee shop recommending you, that you have the authority, the experience, the expertise, that you're legitimate, and that you have, some history as well. So the Google reviews and sort of like a little bit of a backstory going on if you've been around for 5 years. If you're brand new, same thing, right? You need to get your word.
it's an interesting challenge, because people don't see it as they don't see the money behind it. It's interesting because the small town mentality is they want to grow, they want to bring more business or more revenue, but just are hesitant to get into this. And they're hesitant to jump on those scary opportunities. They're really trying to break down barrier of saying, this is your word of mouth online. Just giving me a full approach to business now.
Yeah, it's the way you have to do that.
Yeah. Can we get into a little bit about your background? You started over 25 years ago, and you mentioned that you believe that learning every job in your company pretty rare for a CEO. Why is it so important?
Well, first of all, it helps you with regards to managing and growing your staff. When you know, and when I say you have to know everything, I'm not saying you have to be an expert in it. Look, I wouldn't. Somebody told me to code a website, could do it. Somebody told me to start a Google Ads campaign and to like from scratch, I couldn't do it. But I do know the basics of it. So it's important to know what all the aspects of the company, when as you scale, because, once you start trying to get quality people in to do the work, you need to at least have a rudimentary idea of what's going on, right? Like, so if like I said, if you're an auto mechanic and you're hiring a tire guy, you should have at least a little bit of information on tires. The goal is you want to get somebody who knows a lot more than you and who's better at the actual work that you are, but you want to at least know from a customer perspective that is the right person to be doing the job. 100%. We're still, look, we're when you're running a company, like you could, okay. So I know we're going to get into AI. There's a lot of things that AI can do. There's also a lot of things that AI can't do just yet. So
Yeah. And I just had a conversation with this the other day. about how the belief going around that AI actually might bring out more humanity in us, as essentially those tasks online away from us, and it's us just communicating the extra information or the extra time. I'd be interested in world to when you saw the opportunity for AI, you realized it wasn't a threat test. What did you mean by that?
So originally I was, I'll be upfront. Originally I was totally anti-AI. And the reason was, I looked at the AI solution as one of creating content for websites, and for SEO that, was just going to take over writers' jobs and editors' jobs. And that really, essentially, people were like, well, I don't need you writing content for me anymore. I can get AI to do it. And what I realized is that, because AI is taking from, it's machine learning, it is learning from the internet. So the more stuff you put in there is AI generated, it learns from it, then you're turning that into diluted, inaccurate information. So what I was able to kind of educate myself on and realize down the road was embracing AI, not so much as a replacement, but as a vital tool with regards to content marketing and SEO. So that involves, coming up with ideas, eliminating writer's block with regards to my writers, making sure that, really essentially coming up with, tell me what's going on that I should be writing about today. And then having the human go through it and, okay, so here's my outline now, I'm going to write it now, and then have another human edit it to go through it and humanize it, making sure that it's coming from the voice of the person. So everything that I write, for example, for myself, for my site, so I write all of our content. I don't have anybody writing for me. I do get ideas from AI, right? I'll throw them in there, but then I'm going through that and I'm making it into my own, because and by the way, every time I look at something, there's at least one error in there where you're just like, what are you talking about? Or they're mentioning a stat that they can't back up. And then even if you prompt it to do so, you still might not get the right information. So that's why I feel like embracing AI now as a resource instead of a replacement is fine, but I don't feel like it's ever going to be a replacement for that human side.
Are you wasting hours every week on clunky systems and manual processes just because every consultant's told you enterprise solutions cost tens of thousands of dollars? That's a lie, and it's killing your business. If you're a small town entrepreneur, a growing business owner, or a nonprofit, you already feel the pressure. Every hour wasted on spreadsheets or duct tape apps is an hour stolen from actually growing your business. Here's the truth. You don't need a massive budget to compete with an enterprise level. I'm Cody, the Weird Canadian, and I've spent over a decade building multi-billion-dollar systems for government and Fortune 500 companies. Now I bring that same expertise to entrepreneurs like you with scalable websites, custom applications, and smart automations, all built on a shoestring. My process is simple. I analyze your business to see where you're bleeding time and money. I strategize the high impact solutions for your budget. I execute systems that scale with you. And I optimize so you keep on growing without adding chaos. And on top of that, I'm there with you to explain every process and how it works and why it works for you. Now imagine having enterprise grade systems that save you hours a week, let you compete with the bigger players, and give you confidence knowing your business runs smoothly, even while you sleep. That's the freedom you've been chasing. Stop waiting, start scaling. Book your strategy consultation today, and let's build the business systems you deserve. Looking forward to working with you, and let's stay weird. You're kind of echoing to the collective choir. Funny that everybody's like, oh, AI is going to take your jobs. But if you ask anybody in the AI space, no, it's going to, it's human. It's not going to take away from, it's just an interesting side of the coin, I guess.
Saying that though, there are some things that I feel like It's funny, I was chatting with some colleagues of mine who are in other professions, and I was doing a lot of things that they used to get some junior people to do. So we'll see. We'll see how things pan out.
I had my head bitten off by a friend who's a lawyer, and he's just made a little tool in the legal things head off, or even trying to bring it up. It's like, don't do that. Like, there's so many other things. I'm like, okay. All good. But I understand. It's all my take of AI is it's going to break down the communication where there's more than anything else. We're going to interpret intent a lot easier. Just kind of find out who's actually true to themselves and who's authentic. It's going to be nice. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I think the key for AI now is really learning how to interact with it and being able to work the prompts better, because somebody can sit there and go, okay, design me a web page for my, and we're going to use the pet grooming business again, and you could get a basic website and you could get the coding for it, and it's going to show some great stuff. It might have some AI generated images, and you can post that up and it's going to do nothing for you because you don't have reputation. You don't have any user generated content, right? You're not doing anything where somebody's actually showing, hey, here's what my dog looked like before, and here's what my dog looked like after. And then you're also not doing anything to the local market. So if you're in, dog grooming in, Newfoundland versus dog grooming in LA, those are totally different, right? So, it's being able to properly prompt, AI, and, it's using it properly. Right now, it's just a lot of people look at it as like a toy.
I've been trying to get people to just play with it, just get some experience in being a developer as supervised with AI, because developers have always had to figure out how to ask questions from everybody and everything to appropriate response. Just brand over. I'm just trying to, because I'm so, how would you get some of this?
How would I get somebody to start using AI? Well, that's an interesting question. And the reason is like, what's the purpose? That'd be the first question I ask, right?
So I think just the purpose of it is understanding what it can. To me, I always say, like, can you find a task in your life you don't that is on the computer or something to fill, and just ask it to start.
Okay. So for example, like what I like to do is, if you're, and we'll use ChatGPT as the example, is ask AI to generate the prompt for you. Okay, to say, so if you're like, for example, if you were to say, what prompt should I ask you if I need a program to help auto respond to my emails, or something to plug into my email service provider to better organize all the emails that I'm getting, or something like that. So my advice to anybody is, you're basically asking ChatGPT what to ask it. That would be my first step.
There. I always forget that step. I just actual role context, the whole laid out. So I just like, I do really like your business philosophy, going the extra mile. Can you tell me why, or where that came from? Why from your clients?
It's all about service. It's all about partnership. When we work with a client, I don't like working as a vendor-client relationship. I like working in partnership. It's a two-way street, because a lot of the things that we do, whether it's creating a website, whether it's creating blog posts, whether it's creating social media, you need input from the client. I need to hear from you about this. I don't know about steel buildings. I don't know about baking croissants. I don't know about real estate law. I don't know about options trading. So I need to understand, and I'm never going to know as much as you, and you're not, and nor should I. So it's about a partnership. And so if I get to learn a little bit more about you, then I can then come up with ideas to help you expand your reach. And that's what I mean about going the extra mile. Being able to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I found an opportunity for you. Okay. To say if somebody's got, one website where they're building, like I said, they're building steel buildings for residential. If I can then, say, look, you know what? I know some mortgage brokers that would love to do something with you to help get your clients the financing to help build these homes. It's a natural fit. And the more you get to know a client and develop a personal, not so much a personal relationship, but like an in-depth business relationship. I'm very happy that a lot of my clients have been with me for 5-6 years. Some of them have been with me since the beginning. Have left and come back. But it's always about building that relationship. So that way, whenever it comes time, that also, like if somebody I know is saying, hey, I just bought a plot of land up north and I'm looking to build a cottage, and then I can say, hey, you know what? I know a guy that does steel buildings that are a lot cheaper than the regular buildings, are a lot more refined than you think they are. Let's put you two in touch. And it's always about, we're dealing with small business, small to mid-sized business. It's all about growth. You're always looking to grow your relationships, your customer base, your revenue. And the only way to grow is to, meet more people and attach yourself to more people.
Very fair. I learned that starting out like my podcast. I don't understand it. Quite much kind of loaded at people. But it's like, I just enjoy the connection. Just having these talks, that's kind of find or look for it. It's teaching me this is your service. It's just network. How it can best serve anybody.
Look, some businesses, big corporations, faceless, people understand, right? I don't, it's funny, but people like doing business with people. And even with the larger corporations, look, when you decide that you're checking out of your grocery store, it could be, Loblaw, or it could be whatever it is, you're dealing with that. It's funny. Every time I go grocery shopping, I always look out for the same lady at the checkout because I just love when she organizes my groceries as she's swiping it out. It's great. Whenever I go into Starbucks, if I to get a coffee, I always go to the same location, even though there's like 6 near me. I go to that same location because the people there are so friendly and I like talking with them. As people like doing business with people here in Toronto, if you listen to some radio spots or see some TV spots, a lot of the and I'm going to say small businesses, but the mid-sized businesses, they have their face on it. They talk, they say, hi, I'm the owner. I'm this person from, whatever carpet company. I'm this person from whatever jewelry company or optical company. So it's all about relationship.
It's funny. Just thought of we're losing even our businesses. We're not. Because when I was working Tim Hortons, I was always trying my hardest. I was always trying to be friendly. I was always trying to give it my all to experience work. We live in a world where where nobody wants to connect with the other person on the outside.
Yeah, but it's at the same time, it's the expectation. So I think when Tim Hortons tried to do that, if you remember correctly, there's a point where Tim Hortons and even McDonald's with the McCafe tried to emulate Starbucks, right? They tried to get something where it's, hey, come in, sit down. And it didn't work as well because the Tim Hortons experience is you go through the drive-thru, grab your double and your maple dip, and you're out the door, right? Maybe it's a drive-thru. You want to stay there. And then Starbucks flipped it. They started to make it a lot more like Tim Hortons. where it was like order ahead, just get your stuff, pick up counter, go. And they started to dip. And when and even though they're still kind of experiencing that dip, they've now gone back a little bit more to that whole Starbucks brand experience where, you're getting your coffee and the writing on it, the handwriting on it, and they reduce their menu size to get more of that Starbucks experience where you want to sit there. So it's all about the expectation of what you want. If you want to fast, get in, get out, do this. Maybe it's simple words. If you want something that where, hey, I'll meet you for a coffee, or I'm going to sit there with my laptop and work for 3 hours, then it's Starbucks.
It's interesting because I think for a little while now that the world's going to become more people oriented. You're going to want more of those. Small businesses are so ready for this. Ready. They're going to expect as personal. That's why for me coming out to the middle of nowhere, there's so much opportunity there. Sure. I just put solar on my roof because get off the grid, have a nice. We don't have to pay for utilities anymore. It's kind of the old lifestyle, and I think people are going to want that more as it grows. Let's get into something. If somebody's listening to this and they want to start preparing their business for research, what would you do? What would they do?
What would they do this week to get ready for an AI search? I think it would be a content audit. Go through their website for content to make sure that they're optimized for AEO, answer engine optimization. They are providing answers. If I have one piece of advice for anybody who's got a website, I would say make sure that you have a very robust FAQ page. Okay, and when you have an FAQ page, that your FAQs are geared towards, here's another acronym, ICP, your ideal customer profile. You always want to think like a customer. So you want to basically say, okay, what do my customers ask? How much is it for dog grooming? Can I get my cat's claws cut here? How long is it going to take? How often do I need to do it? So what's, I'm driving in from, wherever, is there anybody closer? Anything that you can to help answer the questions, because that's what's happening. So I'm very proud that the content that we've been writing for our clients since 2012 and has been optimized technically for AEO now. And we got kind of like, sometimes we would be asked for, very broad keywords. And we would say, no, let's stick to strict stuff. And we would do FAQ pages to really, really max out on the as robust content as possible. And now it's starting to dividends with AI. You see the Gemini snippets that come up, and a lot of our clients are now showing up for those Gemini snippets on content that we wrote years ago. So my advice would be to make sure that you have robust content that answers questions that your ideal customer are going to ask.
And I just have one last question on it. For building something, you are building this. You built your company in Toronto. That's what I'm about. Why Canada still better? That Canada should. Like, this is the thing I've been struggling with this week or so. Canada's the one who actually builds the majority of precursors to the technology that comes out of. Do you think that Canadians just have a different perspective of business and technology puts them at the forefront?
I think what we bring to the table, and I'm not saying this is for all Canadian businesses or all Canadians. Okay, this is just my personal opinion. Somebody born and raised in Toronto. Okay, lived here all my life, and that is that we are more able to embrace the international international, I guess the international world, the inter. I'm trying to phrase this properly. Like when you have a country, first of all, that we're not the United States. Okay, the United States, I think, is very insular, and they're all about made in America, and this is the American ingenuity, American know-how, American this. I think we take more of a global approach, and we're not afraid to look at the influx of, for example, new Canadians who are coming here who have the knowledge base and utilizing that knowledge base that they have, whether it's from Asia or from Europe or anywhere else in the world, and to say, okay, let's take your know-how, let's take your knowledge base, and then use it towards innovating our own technology and innovating our own resources. So that's why I find that Canadian ingenuity is so great, is because we think a little bit more globally, and not so much globally for the sake of taking over the world, but for providing for the world. And I think that's why I love the country so much, right? It's just I know I don't agree with everything that's happening in this country, and some things that I don't like, but I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
That's the same. Like, that's why I'm the weird Canadian, deeply proud of who we are as people. And I'm just a weird guy. So. But yeah, I try to talk about as much as possible. You just try and help. And politeness is always just us just trying to help. We don't restrict ourselves to say, no, I don't here, from there.
Mhm.
The global navigation. Is there anything else you'd like to tell to our audience, or anything you'd like to plug on the way?
Well, I think if you're a business and you're looking to hire somebody to help you with your business online, right? Whether it's from Newfoundland or to BC or wherever it is, I think one thing that I like to say to people who run their business is to take it seriously. I feel that a lot of businesses, the one thing that I've seen and that has kind of been the downfall is their inability to put marketing as one of the key pillars of business success. And that is whether it's building a website, creating content on a regular basis, making sure the social media is running, consistently. And that's a key word, consistency. Is that a lot of even clients I deal with sometimes, it's hard to get the consistency going because you know what, you're involved in your business. You're doing, you're managing your team, you're managing your suppliers, you're maybe on the job doing actual stuff, doing the actual work sometimes if you're a solopreneur or something like that. But marketing is a key business growth exercise that you need to do. It's unfortunate that usually when things go tough, marketing is the first thing that gets cut because it's an investment that will reap rewards down the road versus, maybe buying a new piece of equipment that you're going to say, okay, I need to do this. I need this equipment to build this thing. I need it now, while marketing will help you down the road get that job when you need that equipment. So that's my piece of advice. If you are a business, take a lot of stock in your marketing. Fine. If you do it yourself, I'm going to say that right now. You can do it yourself. It's time consuming. So that's why you should be getting somebody else to help.
Wise words. I wish I had somebody to help me with my content sometimes. But thankfully AI is getting to the point where all I have to do is put it into an AI for me, which is great. So where
double check it though. Double check it.
Always. In every, not even just in one LLM, check it in every LLM. And where can people reach you if they want to know more or if they're looking for services for it?
100%. So you visit my website, www.numerounoweb.com. You can email me at a.newman@numerounoweb.com. I also have a YouTube channel. Love if people subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's at Numero Uno Web. If you actually go to my website, you can see all my social media links there. But yes, and if you do come to the website and you do email me, I will personally get back to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and I'll make sure it's all in the...
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe for more insights and visit our website for exclusive resources. Stay weird.